everyone, it's Summer with AstariaSen, and we are here for day 6 of my Tarot to Art challenging myself. I didn't do like a giant challenge, actual challenge for like how to do my art page in this one. I've been fighting with a migraine for most of the day. So instead, I kept it simple, I kept it basic, because here's a reality. If you give yourself an excuse not to do something, you're not going to do it, right? So instead of giving myself an excuse not to do the art page because I have a migraine, I just took the idea and said, okay, well, I don't have to do an elaborate journal page. I can do a minimal journal page and still talk about the stuff that I researched last night and some of the stuff that came up for me today while I was working on my journal page. So that's what I did. I do think it still turned out fine, but it's not like super elaborate or anything like that. I kept it pretty simple, pretty basic. I wanted to explore some kind of deep self stuff because I got the Two of Swords, and it's not the same in the Revelations Tarot as it is in like a Rider-Waite. This one, the Revelations Tarot, I wrote some notes down here, is more like a balancing, which I see the Two of Swords, or the twos in general, as a duality, as a balance, right? One and the other. And in the other Two of Swords, like some of them do have like a balancing idea, but most of the time the person is blind. But you can see in the Revelations Tarot, he's definitely not blind, okay? Definitely not blind. And even if I was to use the reverse section, it's not blind either. But anyways, so it's in the Revelations Tarot, it's internal and external, the balancing of internal and external, which I think I can kind of see and kind of relate to. And I think I tried to pull that out in my journal page as well. So now that you kind of know where I'm coming from today, please bear with me. The video is much shorter than most of my videos, and let's go ahead and Tarot to Art. I will do my voiceover and see you guys in just a moment. All right, so as you can see, I already wrote down my date for this one so that it took less time on you guys. I did go through and kind of look at some different stickers that I might want to use in this one, and I decided on a top 3 because one of the things that I did in like my journaling prior is I wrote down the truth, because the Two of Swords talks about, you know, be honest with yourself. There's that duality of self versus internal versus external, right? And so be honest with yourself is pretty important in something like the Two of Swords, because it's a mental thing, right? Swords are mental, and they're all about your thought process and stuff like that. And when you're balancing things, you're balancing that thought process with, it could be, you could be balancing it through internal with your heart and the outside world, or two things in the outside world versus your mind, you know, those kinds of things. So be honest with myself is pretty important. So the 3 things that I wrote down was that I make excuses, because I do, I avoid, and I procrastinate. So those are my top 3 things to be honest with myself. And then I added this Capricorn sticker because I'm a Capricorn, and I think that plays a big role in how I do things and how meticulous I can be sometimes with things, and how even that, if I'm being honest with myself, even that I have to balance, because I can get a little too meticulous. I can get a little too determined. I can get a little too ambitious. And that's also why I wrote the balance here, is because I wanted the word in there. I wanted it to be something that is very prevalent on the journal page, because it's about balancing these dualities. It's about balancing my reality versus what I keep telling myself, right? I colored in blue because I like the softer color. I was gonna do the purple, but it seemed too bold to me, and I was looking for just a little bit softer, and that could be due to my migraine, which, you know, at least it didn't stop me from doing it, right? And so at this point, I think I honestly had forgotten to do my Two of Swords card for this, so I had to find it and then do the Two of Swords cards. Because normally I think I usually start out with doing the sword card, or the card, sorry. So yeah, I went through and I went ahead and I added just the words that came to mind about the Two of Swords and what I know of traditional versus the Revelations, and kind of put them both together so that I had both aspects, because Revelations tarot is the one that I'm using. And then on the back I wrote the be honest with yourself, because that is the shadow part, right? To be honest with yourself, because you don't like looking at yourself. I don't like looking at myself. It's hard. It's rough. But still needs to be done, right? It needs to be done in order for things to progress. It needs to be done in order to grow. It needs to be done in order for things to change. It just depends on what you want to do with things. And for me, I think that by making these excuses and not being honest, just kind of blinding myself to it all, I'm sabotaging myself. And so I definitely write that down, because that's pretty important aspect of that balance. Self-sabotage versus non-self-sabotage. I had considered just keeping things positive on this page, but if I were to do that, that really wouldn't be being honest with myself, would it? I mean, positivity is a good thing, but at the same time, if you only focus on the positive aspects of things, then you might not grow as much as you think. I mean, I could put a positive spin on it and say, well, at least I got my procrastination done, right? Because people make fun of what they do, the procrastinating and the avoidance and excuses and stuff like that, right? I could look at it as, I can even make the excuse of, well, I'm going to do research, which is a positive thing, right? Instead of doing what I actually need to do. The research is positive because I'm actually exploring something that I want to explore, but that doesn't help me do what I need to actually do. I'm just kind of finding something else to do. Procrastinating, avoiding, those kinds of things, they all kind of go together. So on the journal page, this is what I write for my thoughts on the card and being honest with myself, is that I don't like to face my truths. Who does, right? I don't know anybody who likes to face their truths. It's hard to look at myself sabotage. Like many people, it's easier to just stay blind, to not look too close, to pretend something doesn't exist or that something isn't true. And that's the hard part right there, right? And while I face my truths, while I'm being honest about the less than desirable aspects of myself, like those top 3 that I wrote down, right? I make excuses, I avoid, I procrastinate. There's also this ability I have to face. It's that yes, I can. I can balance my internal with my external. I know I can because I do it. I have the ability to. I can multitask. I can accomplish my goals and get it done. However, right now, or sometimes maybe in the future, maybe in the future, I will do it too, because it's not the first time and it won't be the last time I do it. I'm actively not using those abilities. I'm blinding myself to what actually needs to be done. That's the problem, right? Is that I'm blinding myself to it. I have these abilities, but I just really don't want to look at it. And that's kind of the hard part.